Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So today we're checking out another product from KAWA. So I have previously done a video on one of their security cameras, and they wanted me to check out their new dashcam system. So this is a dual camera dashcam cell, and it also came with this additional unit in the actual pack as well. So this is their hardwire kit. So we'll take a look at that in a second. First thing we'll do is we'll just quickly take a look at the actual packaging. These are all the details in terms of what you actually get. You do have a QR code for the app. So the way it works is it just works off a Wi-Fi that the actual camera gives off, and then you can connect to the camera remotely and access a live feed. So firstly, opening it up, and first thing we're presented with is a memory card. So this is a 64GB memory card. You then also have some installation stickers. So you have those to assist you with the actual setup. Next to that, we do have the actual user manual. Okay, so in this particular pack we have quite a few units in there. So firstly, you have the actual mount. So this is what you stick on either your dash or your windscreen. You do have a spare 3M sticker. Also in there, it does actually come with the power brick as well. Let's see if it mentions the output. So yeah, you have 5V 2 amps. Next to that, you have some sort of piece. Presumably this is going to be for during the actual installation. Next to that, you have quite a long USB-A to micro USB connection just there. Just to mention, on the actual box there are different variants of what's actually received. I can't remember where I actually saw it. I do remember seeing, yeah, there we go. So depending on what type of cable it's got, you get different versions of this particular kit. Okay, so next to that we have the actual camera unit itself. So on this side you do have DC in, and then you have the micro SD slot. On the back you have a pretty large screen. On the bottom you've got some buttons. None of these are labeled, so presumably they'll be all on screen. And then on the top you also have another input. So whether or not one of these or both of them can be used for the rear camera, we'll have to wait and see. On the side you have a power button, and then you also have a tiny little reset button as well as a QR code just there as well. So the actual unit is not too big. I've had other dash cams in the past. I'm not currently using one, so I will have to actually go about fully installing this from scratch. Probably won't show that, but I'll show the end product once it's actually installed. And in the final box, presumably this is going to be the rear camera. Yes, this is your rear camera. So I'm not sure whether this is an internal one or whether this can also get mounted externally as well. Looking at it, I don't think this will be weather tight, so I'm guessing this just goes in your rear windscreen, and that will give you the ability to have front and rear recordings of any incidents that you might come across. In terms of the camera, yeah, so it's got a proprietary connection just there, 4-pin. And it's got a little grommet there, so you can't put this in wrong. And then that terminates in a micro USB connection. So that's where that would plug in, and that's how they both link off each other. And then this side one will be your actual power. Right, so that's everything that comes in the first pack. Let's just take a quick look at what you actually get in this additional hardwire kit that they sent as well. It does come with some paperwork. Now, yeah, so you do have instructions in various different languages. And yeah, so this is if you want to actually go straight into your fuse box. And let's just take a quick look at the actual kit itself. Okay, so what you have here is that same connection. So that is what goes, where's it gone, on the side, just there, this way around, like that. And then it terminates into positive, ground, permanent wire, and then you also have your switched wire. So basically one of these will be ignition and one will be permanent live. I would have thought that with something like this they might have actually given something where you can just plug it straight into your fuse box, but it looks like that's something, if you wanted it that way, you'd have to buy the fuse and any equipment with that additionally. This possibly could be so then it can actually just link straight into the back of like a head unit or something, because they will also have these same wires that have your ground, you'll have your permanent live, and then you'll have your switch live as well, which turns on with the ignition. Right, so that's everything that you actually get in the pack. What I'll do is I'll get this installed over the next couple of days. We'll do some testing and then I'll report back with my findings. Okay, so let's take a look at how you actually use the app. So once you come in, it basically gives you instructions in terms of how to connect to the Wi-Fi of the camera itself. So when you go to your Wi-Fi settings on your phone, you enter the password 12345678. that will then connect to the Wi-Fi of the actual camera itself, and then when you go back to the app, it will then give you the option to connect. In this video I've already connected it, that's why when I return it will just automatically go in. It won't give me any other prompts. Normally you would get a prompt for the actual password itself. Okay, so let's take a look at the actual app. So in order to connect, once you've set up the device, which you should have already seen earlier in the video, you click on the device and it basically gives you the instructions in terms of how to connect. So once you've connected previously, this will be a lot easier, but essentially what you have to do is go to your settings, go to your Wi-Fi, and it should appear once it detects it somewhere at the bottom as a previously detected device. You may need to toggle your Wi-Fi on and off in order to get it. There we go. So now it's shown up and it's connecting, and there we go, it's connected. So once you then come back to the app, it should then automatically allow you to go in. So this is the sort of layout that you can see. So you have your front camera and your rear camera, and it switches between them relatively quickly. And then you have your album, so you can go in and view any clips that are actually recorded on the camera itself. And then you have your option to actually take a photo, and it does also give you options to record manually as well. If you come into the settings here, you can see all the various different settings that you have available to you, and one of the most important ones here is if you come into advanced settings, you can change it from miles to kilometers per hour or vice versa. You can also set your speed of recording as well, depending on whether you're wanting this with 50 or 60 hertz. I would suggest leaving this on medium or lower sensitivity, because otherwise you are going to get a lot of false detections. Whenever you hit a pothole, it'll do an automatic recording. And the auto power off is, you can set it right now, but basically it only works if you've got a constant power source. This is where if you've got it hardwired, you can set it so then it'll stay recording. All the other settings are pretty self-explanatory, so you can go through them and check them as and when you choose. If you do press the option to rotate the screen, this gives the option to actually view the live feed whilst you're driving or whilst the camera is in use. During this period, the camera itself displays a message saying mobile app is connected, recording continues. It's telling you that it's still recording in the background. It's always recording in the background anyway, but the screen itself will not display anything until you disconnect from the app. Okay, so let's take a look at the installation. So those little sticky sort of sheets that they supply with you, what you're meant to do is stick them onto the windscreen first, and then you stick the mount onto the windscreen, well, on top of those sheets after. And that's the same for both front and rear cameras. And that's firstly to give you better adhesion, but secondly it also makes it a lot easier when you do want to actually remove the camera, because you can just peel that and it'll take that with it. In terms of the setup, the front camera is still a temporary setup, but here you can see how it actually looks both from inside as well as outside. So relatively hidden, you don't notice it too much apart from the actual dangling wire, which I'll discuss later. In terms of the rear camera, that one you can probably notice it a bit more just because the actual square sticks out a bit more on the rear windscreen. Not sure whether that was a cleaning issue or whether that's just how it is with this particular vehicle's sort of rear screen. And on the inside, I did actually go to the effort of tucking in the wire as much as I could. I do have a rear brake, top rear brake, so it meant that I couldn't hide that first part, but the rest of it was all hidden away. So as you can see, I do still have it hooked up via the temporary method for now, just going into the cigarette lighter power socket. And the reason for that is whilst they did actually supply me with the hardwire kit, I didn't like the way in which that particular kit works. So it doesn't come with the built-in fuses, it just comes with bare wire. So they want you to just kind of adapt it onto your existing fuses, which is not the way to do it. You can buy kits off Amazon for between say 10 and 20 pounds, and they would come with the actual fuse kits, and that's basically what I'm gonna end up doing. So if I do end up keeping this in situ, then I will use one of those kits rather than using the one that they supplied with it, because I don't feel that's the right way to do it. This method works perfectly fine. The only downside is it does interfere with your medium wave radio. So if you do listen to medium wave radio here in the UK, then you will get interference from that. Apologies for the noise, there's quite a lot of traffic today for some reason. But yeah, operation wise, it's worked perfectly fine. So I just leave it plugged in. As soon as you start the car or you put ignition on, it turns the camera on. If you do use stop start on your car, so as you can see, my car does have stop start. If you do use that, then every time the car turns off and back on, it will power cycle the actual camera. So that's one thing to be aware of, and that's where maybe you want to actually consider using the wired connection. The other benefit that one does do is it gives you the option of a time-lapse recording. That option is only available if you have it hardwired. It's not available if you use this particular method, because as soon as you turn off ignition or you restart the car, it will turn it cuts off power to this socket, and then obviously you don't have that option. Whereas that way you do have the option of using a time-lapse and basically keeping a recording 24/7. It does have a built-in function. I believe that's why they actually supplied their own sort of power kit with the hardwire kit. So it has like an extra little unit on it, and what that's meant to do is it detects your battery's voltage, and if it drops below a certain level, it will then turn the camera off regardless of whether you've got it set to 24/7 recording or not. So that's one of those features that you may not get if you go for just a generic or universal one off Amazon, a hardwire kit. So that's one of the things that their kit does give you, but you could always just adapt one of those units into the kit that these lot give you and make it work that way. In terms of recordings, I'll have some sample clips coming up for both front and rear recordings. Initially, when I got the camera, one thing to note is the firmware on the camera was wrong. So whilst it may have been working for kilometers per hour, when you switched it to miles per hour, it looked like it was still recording the speed in kilometers, because it was showing way too fast for the roads that was going on. I did contact the seller, and he advised me that there is a firmware update which you basically just install on a USB pen drive, and once you've connected it, it will basically update the camera as the first time you turn it on, and then since then it should be correct in terms of your speeds and your GPS location and everything on the actual camera and the recordings themselves. So we'll take a look at some of the actual samples next. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the sample clips. So firstly, rare occurrence in the UK, which is a sunny day. And the main thing about sunny days is the amount of reflection. Because the camera is such a wide angle lens, you end up seeing quite a lot of the dash, the inside of the windscreen, in order to try and get the end of the bonnet. Now, I could angle this up further. I think in the event of an accident, you want to be able to actually see where the end of the bonnet is. So you want to be able to see the front of the vehicle to see who's actually at fault. And from the actual wide angle lens on this particular camera, you end up catching a lot of reflections. So that's the main sort of issue with the front facing camera. It's just the amount of reflections that it catches. In terms of the image, it's pretty good. It is 4K, and I believe it records in pretty decent frame rate as well. Now switching to the rear camera, and you can see this one's not quite as good. You can still read number plates when they're up close, but from further away it's not really going to catch it. I think that could also be down to a frame rate thing as well. I don't think the rear camera captures at the same frame rate as the front facing camera. This is the same clip. I've tried to use the same clips so you can get an idea in terms of the quality difference. You do still get an idea, obviously, in the event of an accident, it would still capture what's going on behind you. But similarly, you do get a lot of reflections on this one as well. If you want to actually capture the rear of your vehicle, it's always going to catch those reflections because the camera is such a wide angle lens. The video does look a bit odd with some of the colors, but that could just be down to the fact that this is recording SDR and I'm uploading in HDR. Now coming on to some night shots, and in this particular occasion is more like the UK, so it's also raining. And you can see in terms of the general picture, it's pretty good. What I did find was it does actually pick up quite a bit of light, as with other KAWA products. So the aperture of the actual camera itself is pretty decent. So without any artificial light, it's still going to capture a decent amount. Rain and sort of raindrops and smearing is the main issue, as well as condensation and other things like that. Basically, if you're struggling to see out the windscreen, the camera is definitely going to be struggling as well. But this is where, as you're going under the traffic lights, you do get that extra glare from reflections on the inside as well as outside of the actual windscreen itself. And in terms of capturing any events in terms of an accident or something, I think it would do a pretty decent job. Now the rear camera on that same clip, and you can see here, this is where it really falls down. So if there was a car coming up behind you, I think it would be very difficult to actually see the number plate in these conditions. It still gives you an idea in terms of who's at fault, and that's the main reason you would have a rear dash cam. But overall, I think this is where with my car, I don't have a rear wiper. If you did have a rear wiper, that would definitely help in this situation. Overall, it does a decent job. It's there just as an addition. Obviously, the front facing camera is the main thing. The rear one is just there as extra information, worst case scenario in the event of an actual accident. Overall, pretty decent product, and anybody looking to purchase, I will have links in the description, so you can go there if you want to check that out. If you haven't already done so, please do subscribe and turn on notifications. I may well be getting other review units to test, so for those, turn on notifications so you don't miss out. I would appreciate if you can give this video a like and also share it on your social media platforms to help the channel out. And until the next one, thanks very much for watching.